Thank you everybody for coming. Also, thank you for the folks that organized this. I had a question mark in my mind when I first was asked about this, and I could not see why I shouldn't be up here. First of all, I have almost 45 years with Vance County Schools. 45 years that I have really enjoyed. And while I've been there, we've made a lot of accomplishments. Our scores have gone up in school. We're having communications with parents and teachers and administration. Now you realize the school board is a different item from being an administrator. School board is designed and set up to make policy for Vance County Schools. School board makes policy. It's up to the administration to make sure that these rules and regulations are carried out. What I would like to see, if elected, I'd like to see more communication between the school board and the county commissioners. I was fortunate enough Thursday night to sit at a table at the Crime Stoppers banquet that had some folks that are very involved in the education and welfare of students in Vance County Schools, and that included a state Supreme Court judge, a former superintendent, 2 county commissioners. This was a real good time for me to ask some questions, and I did, and I got some input from them about their expectations when we have to go before the county commissioners, especially to come up with the money and things that we need to advance Vance County Schools. I also believe parents are the lifeline for any successful school. You cannot make it if you do not have parents on your team working with you in every possible way possible. Thank you very much, and I hope to get your vote.
Thank you, Mr. Grissom. Ms. Hartness.
Good afternoon. I am Ruth Hartness, running for re-election to the Board of Education because I'm not through yet, period. I bring experience to this board that should not be wasted. Our superintendent intends to retire, and that means we will be conducting a search for new leadership. Someone who wants to live in Vance County. Someone who will present a plan of action for Vance County Schools. That being said, he will be in charge. I have worked in the schools as a substitute and a tutor for 20 years. And believe me, a lot of times we have wondered who is in charge. I will push for an alternative school for students that have been suspended for the rest of the year, full time. At the present time, they have no place to go but the streets, and this is not acceptable. In the future, policies set up by the board must be followed. That is the law. I will continue to see that our student journalists are not unnecessarily censored. They have the right to file a grievance, and this has been ignored. I will watch your money. Until second semester last year, buses deposited schools in Northern Vance and Southern Vance. Then 5 buses fanned out through this whole county and picked up students that were going to go to the early college at Vance Gravel. And I said, wait a minute. Now, all students are carried to their respective schools, and those students that go to early college are transported. That has saved you a lot of money. I will serve you with honesty, integrity, and demand that from all of our employees. At the present time, we have a superintendent who pretends that he has a doctorate. He does not. Tell me the truth, I live with it. Tell me a falsehood, and I'm going to investigate it. I would appreciate your support. The children are.
Thank you, Ms. Grissom.
That is a very similar question. Assuming that you are elected to the school board in November, what will be your number 1 priority? And as a follow-up, what specific action will you be doing in order to implement that number 1 priority?
Okay, number 1. The slogan on one of my signs has got educating all children today for tomorrow. That's what I believe in. And in doing this, we have to keep our young people in school. We have to provide an opportunity for them to make good grades, give them the right classes where they can go from grade from K1 all the way to grade 12. We need to do this. We need to do it immediately. We have the ongoing practices we have right now for improving student scores. That includes tutoring, Saturday classes, before school, after school. We're all doing this. It's been going on for a while. That involves getting the kids after school. Problem is we can't get them all home. We don't have transportation. So that's one thing I will work on. Also, safe schools. I'm worried about safe schools. If you don't have this, then you have a major problem. I want all students safe at school.
Thank you, Mr. Grissom.
Do you need the question repeated?
I do not, thank you. My main priority, as I stated in my opening statement, will be to search for a new superintendent. Dr. Sharon has not announced his retirement, but that's coming. If we don't have good leadership, we cannot progress. It is not up to the school board to lead our schools. It is up to the superintendent. That is my first priority. I've been involved in that before. I was involved in 2 superintendent searches in the past, and we landed Dr. Bob Gordon and Dr. Howard Maniloff. Those were some of our best years. I will be looking for that kind of leadership for Vance County. Thank you.
Thank you. Directed to Ms. Hartness.
After the county's public school system was recognized for making progress on the dropout rate, the latest data indicates the rate has increased. What steps should be taken to improve or reduce the dropout rate among Vance students?
We can do a lot to address that. One of the things that I've already mentioned is students that we suspend long-term should not wind up on the streets. The administration bought 60 computers this past year, and we were told that they were going to be given to students for so that they could work at home. Turns out a month ago we found out they hadn't been given to them at all. The students are still on the street. Students that are suspended drop out. We need an alternative school for those students, and I intend to see. I've pushed for it for 2 years. I've had no success with the administration. We have one time that's been turned into Western Vance Credit Recovery School, which is a good thing, but it left us without any place to put those students. They are dropping out, and we need to serve them also. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Grissom, same question.
Same question here.
After the county's public school system was recognized for making progress on the dropout rate, the latest data indicates the rate has now increased. What steps should be taken to reduce the dropout rate among Vance County school students?
We have a full-time dropout prevention counselor that is hired and paid for by Vance County Schools. And a lot of the dropouts are students that are 2, 3, 4 years behind. They do not have a chance to graduate by the time they get 21. They will not be able to get all the courses they need. I right now envision the old Clark Street building. Why can't we lease that to somebody like the Boys and Girls Club in North Carolina and have students off the street and can go there? That's one of the things I've looked at. Most of the children that you see dropping out are the same ones that get in trouble at school every day. They don't go to class. It is a very small percentage of the amount of students that we have in our school. But when this happens, it's a revolving door. They keep coming back, keep coming back, keep coming back. And we need to do something about it.
And the first question would be directed to Mr. Grissom.
The most recent SAT scores showed increases for our public school students. What steps should be taken to continue to improve these scores?
All right, thank you. SAT scores have been going up, and as I said in my last comment, what we are doing in school every day is it's at least 150 students out of school that are working with classes that will be involved with SAT scores. They're there in the mornings and they also come on Saturday. We're doing all we can to improve SAT scores. Everybody does not take the SAT. So when you look at your figures there, they are going up, but it could be misleading. So I'm just telling you straight up, it could be misleading. And if I'm on the board, I want to look at that and see what the situation is. But that's some of the things we're doing right now. And we're giving the pre-SAT, that's given several times a year, is let them experience what it's like taking the SAT score and having the SAT test. Thank you.
Thank you. And Ms. Hartness, the same question.
Read the question again, please, George.
The most recent SAT scores showed increases for our public school students. What steps should be taken to continue to improve these scores?
I think that we're doing everything we can. We have marvelous teachers, wonderful teachers, and they're doing everything they can to help these students increase their scores. And we are doing it with after-school tutoring. They can take tutoring during the day. A lot of them take tutoring by working online. Also, we have to ask our students to take responsibility for what they are doing, and that is occurring. I don't know of any more that we can do except with the best teachers we have in the classroom and ask the students to pay attention. Let's learn, because you're going to be accountable for what you have learned. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Hartness.
The General Assembly is projecting even greater budget shortfall in the next school year. From your experiences as a board member or as an administrator, how do you think these shortfalls can be addressed?
Would you please read that question again and speak a little louder? I'm having a problem understanding you.
The General Assembly is projecting even greater budget shortfalls in the next school year. From your experiences as a board member or as an administrator, how do you think these shortfalls can be addressed?
Wow, that is a loaded question. Yes, we are going to experience an even larger shortfall in money this next year than we experienced this past year. It could escalate to 19%. We will do everything we can not to touch any of our teachers. We've got to have the teachers in the classroom. If we cut teachers, that only increases classroom size. What I see is that we have to be very careful with these programs that come our way. We jump on the bandwagon every time one comes along, a new program, a new grant. We've got to be very careful with that. Is it sustainable? Is that program sustainable by this school system? That's why when I came on the board 2 years ago, we were $2 million. At the board, we had a $2 million shortfall because we could not sustain the programs that had been put in place.
Thank you. Address the same question, Mr. Grissom.
Yes, thank you. I think we have to maximize the limited resources we have for our county. Every year for the past 3 years, it's going down. I have to use an example of Northern Vance because that's where I was the administrator for a number of years. Over the past 3 years, we've lost 12 teaching positions. Now, this year they're projecting we will have some more losses coming down. But yet we do not have less students. So that means to me that, first of all, we want to have more students in the least number of classes because they just don't have enough. We'll also lose some of our curriculum courses because you won't have that many people taking the courses. It is a problem. It's going to be a problem until Riley comes up with a better solution to help us. We have other options we can do. We have the Reynolds Foundation.
Thank you, Mr. Grissom. Will be directed, first of all, to Mr. Grissom.
What are the greatest challenges faced by our schools in hiring and retaining top quality teachers?
Well, that is a challenge. With the teachers that come in, we must have interviewed 30 or 40 teachers over the summer. And housing was a problem for them. They couldn't find a place to stay, so most of them that did stay went to Raleigh or Durham to live. Now that tells me something about what we've got here. We have nothing to offer teachers. exceed